Chicago police are trying to figure out who shot 6 people outside a funeral this afternoon.
Y'all, what if I told you King Von might have warned Wooski right before the funeral got spun? And now Lil Durk's name is popping up in the mix? Yeah, it's getting real messy. The street's been whispering, but these new details got folks questioning everything. Was it a setup or a silent mercy call? Either way, it's coming back around. And with Durk already fighting serious federal charges tied to alleged murder plots and witness tampering, folks are wondering, is he now paying the price for Von's unfinished business? Let's get into it. So, most folks know FBG Wooski as one of the most notorious names out of Chicago drill, the King Op, a major figure for STL, EBT, and a top GD stepper. But what gets overlooked? Wooski actually started out in O Block. Yeah, man was born and raised in Parkway Gardens, right in the heart of BD territory. His older brother, Big Mike, was already somebody in the Black Disciples. So early on, Wooski was cool with BDs. He even moved around WIIC City. That's what O Block was known as before the name switch, without any real tension. But once he started hanging with STL, EBT, and claiming GD heavy, especially names like Tuka and FBG Duck, everything flipped. The real turning point? That came when Wooski was just 12 years old. A brawl popped off between STL and YC City. Shots rang out, and a BD named Reezy got hit and died. Word in the streets was that young Wooski was responsible. Some say he pulled the trigger, others say he just got blamed because he was the youngest one there. Either way, the BDs weren't letting it slide. Not even Big Mike could protect him from the heat. Wooski had no choice. He left Parkway and relocated to 63rd, deep in GD territory. That move locked in the op status for real. From that point forward, he was fully STL-EBT and one of the BD's top enemies. Once he made that switch, it got even more serious. He was allegedly involved in another BD's death, this time a dude named Patoon, who was close to King Von, and that made things real personal. Von came back hard. He caught Wooski's cousin Modell lacking and laid him down. Modell's cousin Miles got hit too. He survived, but the injuries were so graphic, doctors said his insides were literally spilling out when they picked him up. Miles lived, but he's been in a wheelchair ever since. That moment, it flipped the whole war into overdrive. Wooski wasn't just out for revenge for Modell, he wanted every op. STL-EBT started sliding on O Block. O Block slid back. It was back and forth, round the clock, a non-stop game of chess with real lives on the line. Through it all, there was this strange mutual respect between Von and Wooski. Even while they were trading shots and disses, they understood what the other was about. Real street rivalry, but with rules. That beef spilled online fast. Von and Wooski were dissing each other heavy on social media, bragging about bodies, taunting each other to slide. The tension was all over the net, but in the background, things got messy on the legal side too. Von got booked for the Malcolm Stuckey. And here's where it gets wild. The guy he did the hit with? Big Mike, Wooski's own brother. Same Big Mike who couldn't protect him years earlier when he had to leave O Block. Mike initially flipped and gave up info, but later he backed out and refused to testify. That move helped Von beat the case. Meanwhile, Wooski was also behind bars, sitting on a gun charge, so both of them were off the streets for a minute. Once Wooski and a few STL-EBT members hit the streets again, it wasn't long before chaos followed. They caught HK, the headshot king, slipping while he was out lurking for ops. HK tried to make a run for it, but he didn't get far. He was hit multiple times and died on the scene. It was cold. But for Wooski, this wasn't just about getting an op. It was personal. Every shot he let off was fueled by pain, anger, and years of war. That move, it shot Wooski straight to the top of the ops hit list. He wasn't just active, he was fearless. He let it be known online too, straight up saying Von was next.
Go to HK back. Talk about King Von, his ass for the die. Tell him I said that. Talk about.
That caught the attention of Von's circle, and the energy shifted. Folks started whispering that a bag had been put on Wooski's head.
I already know that. Wooski, keep my little cousin name out your mouth. Talking about guy, nigga. Talking about King Von, my blood, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, shorty. I got 2,500, man. You that shit, no lack of peace. Be out here with that.
But Wooski, he didn't fold. If anything, he turned up the pressure. Bro was bold enough to walk through rival hoods like TYMB, O Block, and D Block, claiming them like he built them himself. He was becoming a real street presence, not just surviving, dominating. Still, the smoke from the streets wasn't enough. In January 2018, he dropped the Computers remix, and it went crazy. In the track, he called out Dead Ops by name, talked about past hits, and violated everyone on the other side. No filter, no fear. That track made waves and made him even more of a target. Yeah, the BDs weren't gonna let that slide. They knew Wooski wasn't just chilling on the block, so they waited, plotted, and they picked their moment. The opportunity came at Dooski Thaman's funeral, a close homie to Wooski and a known GD. The BDs knew Wooski would show. Night before the funeral, King Von FaceTimed Wooski and told him straight up, "We got a surprise for you." Next day, Wooski steps outside the church for a smoke. 4 shooters pull up and start spraying. He was shot in the head and went down instantly.
We've learned a little bit more about the victims this afternoon. There were a total of 6 people who were shot outside the church. It was a pandemonium, a scene of pandemonium right after that happened. Many of those people who were shot were leaving a funeral inside the church. 6 of them injured, 4 of them were taken by paramedics to hospitals. 2 of them drove themselves.
So boom, even though Wooski got hit up bad somehow, he pulled through. It was wild. Folks really thought he was gone for good, and Von, he was out here celebrating like they finally caught their white whale. The streets were buzzing, Wooski dead. But nah, Duck, who was tight with Wooski, shut all that down real quick. He let it be known, Wooski's still here. Now this is where Lil Durk's name starts creeping into the convo. No paperwork, no official charges tying him to that hit. Let's make that clear. But the whisper's been loud, especially online. People been side-eyeing Durk for years, mostly because of how locked in he was with Von in the O-Block camp. Some folks think Durk might have been sliding funds to help push retaliation, or at the very least, knew what was about to go down. No doubt, the bond between King Von and Lil Durk ran deep. This wasn't just 2 artists linking up for clout. This was family ties, OTF loyalty, real-life trenches to tour bus type of connection.
He was in jail for 2 murders?
Yeah, 1 murder and 2 attempts. I just beat.
How you beat that?
Like, jury, yeah, look,
You gonna beat it. You gonna beat it if you didn't do it. That's all.
How old are you? I know you're young.
I got booked when I was 19. Just got out when I was 23.
Wouldn't be able to get a job nowhere else, probably.
Oh, wait.
Shit, when you get to that line, have you ever been convicted of?
You gonna start making.
Have you ever been
No
arrested
experiences doing nothing. I ain't,
Let's take it back. Von and Durk knew each other way before the fame. Both came out of Chicago's South Side, Von from O-Block, and Durk reppin' Lameron heavy. When Von got out of jail in 2018 after doing 3.5 years, Durk didn't waste no time. He scooped him up, brought him into the fold, and put him on under only the family, OTF. From that moment on, Von was locked in. Durk saw Von not just as a street soldier, but as a star in the making. Durk believed in Von's raw storytelling, his charisma, and the way he could rap real life with zero filter. Tracks like Crazy Story blew up almost overnight, and Durk was right there, hyping him, giving him that platform, standing next to him in videos, interviews, the whole 9. But it wasn't all music. Durk and Von moved like brothers. You could catch them flying out together, performing side by side, rocking matching chains, even getting each other's faces tatted. It was deeper than rap. They shared real loyalty, a common past, and a future they were building together brick by brick. What made their bond even stronger? The fact that they'd been through real life or death situations together. Remember that 2019 shooting case in Atlanta? Both Durk and Von got hit with charges for allegedly robbing and shooting a man outside the Varsity, that legendary ATL spot. Reports say they took $30,000, and the victim was left fighting for his life. Surveillance footage allegedly showed Durk busting shots from a car, while Von was on foot, letting off rounds too. Wild scene. And when it came time to face that courtroom heat, they stood side by side, 10 toes down, like a unit. Von could have folded, could have taken a deal or pointed fingers, but he didn't. Not once. That loyalty said everything. Von always said Durk saved his life, not just by giving him a record deal, but by pulling him out the streets, showing him there was more to live for. Meanwhile, Durk called Von his twin, someone who matched his energy on every level. Savage in the streets, savage on the mic. But everything changed on November 6, 2020. That night in Atlanta, outside Monaco Hookah Lounge, Von was out heavy with his crew, O-Block by his side. Then Quando Rondo's people pulled up, and tension turned real fast. Von, never the type to send shots from the sidelines, ran up and started swinging on Quando himself. It looked like a fade, until Lil Tim, allegedly riding for Quando, pulled out and let off shots, hitting Von multiple times. Von was rushed to the hospital, but the damage was done. At just 26 years old, he was gone. And the wild part, this didn't even happen in Chicago. It happened while he was trying to transition, level up, and leave the street drama behind. But the past never really lets go. When the news broke, Durk went ghost. No tweets, no IG posts, just straight silence. Fans knew something was off, and when he finally popped out again, it was with a post that said it all. "My twin gone. I love you, baby bro." A few days later, he dropped Backdoor, and even though he didn't name names, the message was clear: betrayal, grief, paranoia. In the video, Durk wore Von's O-Block chain, a move that hit different. It wasn't just tribute, it was legacy protection. But after that, the streets were watching. Everybody expected Durk to move, either in the booth or in real life. But Durk didn't say much. Instead, his music got darker, heavier, more layered with emotion and coded references. Tracks started sounding like chess moves, not just diss records. And when he finally did speak in interviews, he described Von like this.
Somebody told me if you can copy an artist to be somebody for Halloween, you made it. He had a whole image, you know what I'm saying? And he lived what he lives. What he rapped about, he lived, but he was good-hearted at the same time. So it's like authentic, genuine. You don't really get that.
That line hit, because people knew Von wasn't no saint. He was a street general. And for real, the streets had long whispered that if Von wasn't a rapper, he'd be right up there with some of the coldest to ever do it, only with a bigger body count. King Von was absolutely a serial killer. He seriously got off on killing, and got off even more trolling those he was about to kill, or to family or friends of those he killed. It's all he thought about. It absolutely consumed him. One of the biggest names tied to Von's rep is FBG Duck, who got killed in 2020. Now, no one's officially pinned that hit on Von, but street chatter and feds alike been linking him to the case. And ever since Duck's death, it's been blood for blood between rival gangs in Chicago, O-Block and the GDs. But things got serious when a Chicago rap blog dropped a witness statement that had been quietly sitting in FBI hands since right after Duck's murder. In it, the witness said Von put a $50,000 bounty on Duck's head and later bumped it up to $100,000. That's wild. And the motive? Duck had been dissing dead members of Von's crew in his music, and that kind of disrespect don't go unnoticed in Chicago. Duck, real name Carlton Weekly, was out shopping in the upscale Gold Coast area with his son when he got gunned down. Broad daylight.
Word is spreading on social media that the 26-year-old man pronounced dead is a well-known Chicago rapper. A crowd grew outside Northwestern Hospital where he was taken, but still no official confirmation on his identity.
According to the 29-page statement, Von didn't just take credit privately, he celebrated it. The witness said Von copped custom jewelry for the hitters allegedly behind the hit, gifts for the O-Block members who carried it out. The feds later hit 5 guys with charges in connection to Duck's death. The case finally went to trial in January 2024, lasted over 3 months, and by the end of it, every single one of them was found guilty in connection with Duck's. As for Von, he died before he could face any charges. Interestingly, there were speculations about Lil Durk being involved in the plot, but nothing concrete came up, and he denied any involvement. So, after Von's death, he seemed to hold it together, at least publicly, stayed focused, stayed silent, until August 2022. That's when things took a crazy turn. A shooting popped off in LA. Quando Rondo was the target, but his cousin Lul Pab took the hit and lost his life.
Shots fired, a fight taken to the streets, and this chaotic scene, the ending of a shooting that started in Los Angeles, California. Sheriff's deputies pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV.
And just like that, rumors swirled. Was this get back for Von? Vaughn? The feds think so. Court documents claim Durk was the mastermind behind the setup. Prosecutors say 5 OTF members flew from Chicago to LA, funded by OTF money. We're talking flights, hotel rooms, rental cars, straps, the whole mission mapped out. And allegedly, they weren't just there for palm trees and tacos. They were hunting Quando. Around the same time the flights were getting booked, there was a text sent from a number tied to Durk that allegedly said, "Don't book no flights under no names involved with me." That text was pulled straight from an affidavit tied to the criminal complaint. And it don't stop there. The affidavit says Durk hopped on a private jet from Miami to LA with his homie Grant. And Grant, he used Durk's credit card to get a room at the Sheraton Universal, the same spot where that alleged 5-man team stayed the night before everything went down. And according to the feds, Grant even copped ski masks for them to use in the hit. They say the crew tracked Quando and Lil Pab all day until the moment hit. That gas station, that's when it all went left. While Quando was out pumping gas, and boom, the shooters jump out, let off shots, then vanish. Lil Pab didn't make it. Fast forward to October 2024, Durk gets picked up in Florida on federal conspiracy charges tied to that whole situation. Word is, they're saying it was murder for hire. Serious time. Durk pled not guilty, but the feds weren't playing. No bond, no release, just held tight, waiting on trial. But now, there's a new twist. Durk just got greenlit for a new bond hearing. His legal team's pushing back hard, and according to court filings, new evidence could change everything. They're saying some of what was used to keep Durk behind bars might not even hold up anymore. Here's where it gets interesting. One of the feds' main pieces was a song, Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy. Durk's verse had that line, "Told me they got an Addy, go. Got location, go. Green light, go, go, go. Look on the news and see your son. You screaming no, no." Now, prosecutors tried to connect that last line, the no-no, to Quando Rondo, saying it matched audio from news footage where Quando was screaming after his cousin Lil Pab was killed. They even claimed the song used that actual audio clip. But here's the twist. Durk's legal team was ready. They pulled up receipts. His engineer and producer signed affidavits confirming that the song was laid down 7 months before the shooting even happened. No official video, no label involvement, just lyrics. And that video the feds tried to present in court, that was a fan-made edit from YouTube. Had nothing to do with Durk, OTF, or anyone on his team. Now with that info out, the feds started scrambling. They couldn't link Durk to the visuals, so they shifted gears. Instead of saying, okay, this isn't about that case, they basically started throwing wild theories like, well, maybe he's talking about some other murder. Yeah, seriously. Their argument turned into, Chicago sees hundreds of killings a year, so odds are the lyrics gotta line up with something. That's not evidence, that's guessing. Durk's team pushed back hard, made the court show their sources. Turns out, the 2 videos in question came from random sites. One from a fan page called Fedit, the other from My Mixtapez, a hip-hop blog. Neither had any affiliation with Durk, OTF, or anyone close to them, just regular internet uploads. Nothing official. That whole visual evidence. After shutting that down, Durk's team came right back with a new proposal. Either dismiss the charges or give bond. They're offering $900,000 in real estate, $1 million in cash from Alamo Records, and $150,000 from Durk's business partner. And on top of that, Durk offered to be on 24/7 home detention, ankle monitor, and hire his own private security to stay in full compliance. Real structured, real locked in. Still, the stakes are high. Durk's looking at federal charges that include conspiracy to commit murder for hire and using a machine gun during a violent crime. If he's convicted, it's life behind bars, or even the death penalty. But like I told y'all earlier, Durk has officially been granted a reconsideration hearing. The date is set for May 8th. And with these new findings, it looks like there's a real shot he might walk free, at least for now. But what y'all think? Is this enough to shake the table and get Durk out? Is the bond package solid, or is the Fed still gonna spin it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, cause I know y'all got opinions, and you already know the vibes. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what's next. Catch you in the next one.